We are rolling on audio.
Say the thing.
We need a clap. And then cue the intro. And we're live.
Yeah.
What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme No Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. And we're live.
Yeah, with less mistakes this week, but it's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this
Whoa. That was really exciting.
is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
Back again. We back.
Always back.
Seamless intro. I didn't even mess up.
Yeah.
I did my we back.
We're back to back like a chiropractor.
Lines I've said.
Yeah.
How do you even? That's an unreleased song. You remember the line?
I hear lines, I remember them, and that's where they stay.
That was good, man. Listen,
I'm focused, man.
yo, I got to get in my bag and get back to my music. When people remember my lines,
That's why I'm a producer, you know?
facts,
So,
no anomalies.
yeah. So, this time around, we should have very good audio.
Very good audio.
We should have very good video.
Very good video.
I fixed all the encoding issues. So, Garrett, bless
Bless
my
up.
friend.
Bless up.
And yeah, that's what it is. That's enough production talk. Welcome
Yay.
to episode 138 of No Rhyme or Reason podcast. I think we're calling this as your anger causing some fear. And
That's all I had.
we give you a new episode every single week. My name is Wordplay TJ, of course. This is Icarus Gray. And we want you to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to regularly get updates on when we release. And lastly, be sure to join our Patreon for exclusive content after the fact. We usually drop overtime series once a month.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Technically, we was
So
giving
we
y'all a little bit extra.
So we don't stress ourselves out.
Oh man, we were stressed. Y'all listen. It was like, what we gonna talk about today? But we would have, and the real issue would be we would have so many technical issues at the beginning that at the end it's like, we done. I don't want to record no more today. We done. The episode is done. He already got to edit 4 or 5 different claps and cuts and pauses and remixes and remixes that I'm like, I'm done. But once a month works for right now.
Yeah.
We'll try to get more frequent. And also I want to say hello to my chat on the behind the scenes stuff, because that'll be live, because we try to go live. And it's way easier to like not go live on OBS because it was causing so many issues. So we go live on OBS on another location. So if you want to join in on that, then you can go to twitch.tv/Icarus_Gray for that.
And I might just go ahead and, share that to my Twitch. And one day on Twitch, I'll start doing my artwork. But I'm just trying to make some space for some music.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where I am.
And that's what we're like really about to do, because now that I have my schedule down for live streaming and stuff, I'm going to start working on the album more, because I keep promising y'all an album, and I'm going to keep my promises.
Yeah.
Because in the words of Drew Hill, I never make a promise that I can't keep.
You better.
So indeed.
Keep your promises.
True that. But we do have a really, really good show for you guys today. I'm excited about it because there was nothing to talk about in the world of the world. It was just like we've been kind of on repeat the past couple of weeks. Like I feel like it's either the people talking about the Dave Chappelle special, anti-vaccination talk, which I'm just like, I'm burnt out at this point.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's mix it up. And TJ did a really good, some mixing up topics. So,
Did I?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get into them then.
You did great.
The first one, we forget.
We forget. No, we didn't forget. Here's why we forgot. Because this is funny. If y'all have a comment about any of the topics that we discussed today, please send them to the NROR podcast at gmail.com. I will respond because TJ.
I don't read that. And I don't have time to read it.
But I'll read them. And if you send them to that email, I'll read them on the show and I'll give you a shout out.
Nice. You're so nice.
Yeah.
I'm not. Anyway.
Stop lying to the people. He really is. He's for the people. If y'all could have heard our off camera conversation, I mean, he's for the people. You for the people.
That's what Garrett says. Garrett says that I'm soft.
No.
But
no.
Whatever.
How? how does that even transpire? But let's get into these topics.
Yeah,
man.
let's get into the topics. I need to adjust this a little bit. But Mac Miller.
Mackety Mac.
According to G Money, he says that Mac Miller has Faces, his one of his albums, out now on Spotify. It's available for folks to stream. So,
instead of like trying to find it on YouTube,
yeah,
which can be bothersome.
Yeah,
if that's not the streaming service that you're conditioned or used to using.
Yeah,
it works for me because like I be forgetting that I can use other services. Plus, Spotify on the desktop, I can play whatever I want.
Right.
But on my phone, it just shuffles everything.
Yeah, you have to have premium.
And I'm like, no, I don't like y'all enough. Y'all are disrespectful to artists.
Don't shuffle for me.
Like, no, just play the album, get out the way.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be about Mac Miller.
But Mac is an immaculate artist. Haha, see what I did there. But rest in peace to him. What's crazy about Mac is like majority of us got introduced to him through Wiz. And when that happened and he started doing, because they're both from Pittsburgh. And I don't know. I've never heard a Mac Miller song that I didn't like. I never heard a song that I wasn't like, you feel good in a way. Like even when he's having his depressive songs where he's talking about things, he has something that a lot of these newer kids to me don't have, for me at least.
Yeah.
And that's just this general connection point in your music. It's just good. He's an exceptional rapper. And so exceptional, he's been on songs with Royce the 5'9", with, on the Prime record where I think it was Mac Miller, Ab-Soul, and I think Royce. I cannot think of the name of the song, but it's one of the songs that I loved off Layers. Or not Layers, Prime. Mm-hmm. Lord, as I get all my things mixed up, because it was a huge hip hop album. And he was just, I mean, any picture you see of him or anytime you hear him talk, you could see how intelligent he was. And I think that having, more access to his music, I hate that it's I'm going to mess up the word.
Posthumous.
Thank you. Posthumously. Presented to people, but he is one of those artists that I think, I mean, we lose too many of our young artists, man. I don't know. I don't know. This kind of brings me down a little bit, but I mean, hey, go listen to the music. I don't know if you have thoughts, but
bummer alert.
Bummer alert, man.
Good luck with that, bruh.
the thing that I think most about Mac Miller is that he's deeply dynamic, right? He's a multi instrumentalist. He's truly passionate about his work and emotive, when he's making his work, and Mac Miller is missed. He's not always as, I think, resonant with all of hip hop culture, right? So
Yeah, I can see that.
there's not always a connection with the females or the women that love hip hop. But if you are a hip hop nerd, it makes sense. And so
And for like rapper white guys, he didn't fall off. And I mean, I know we're trying to get more into like just the general rapper thing, but like, so there was a time where Asher Roth was like killing it.
yeah, Asher Roth was the poster child for white guys in rap, or at least let's say college.
And so when Matt came around, he never lost momentum. Like every album that he put out was better.
Yeah.
Was more dynamic, like you're saying, and more critically acclaimed. And just when you have it, you just see it. And Mac is one of those people that I think you see that from.
Yeah, and Mac Miller is a product of hip hop culture aging up, right? He's a generational product of that. Eminem is also a product of that, and we can see how that works and that intertwines with culture.
Okay.
And so I've never seen Mac Miller as a culture vulture or somebody that misrepresents the culture or anything like that. He never abuses his privilege, to my knowledge.
Yeah, same. And like it was just tragic about just all of the things that happened with him. And again, this is old, I guess, at this point, but you still feel the impact of people.
Right.
You know, you still feel the impact of Biggie and how big Biggie is to your career without being here.
Yeah.
Never meeting him. You know, and I think it's the same thing with me.
And I was 10 years old when he passed away. So,
but even then, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a impact and a gap sometimes that people leave, but when the music is like their music, it almost feels like you could find yourself listening to an album and being like, oh, I wonder when that new Mac Miller's coming out.
Right.
Because it's just, you just fall into that. I know I fall into that, like listening to Biggie verses. Like in my mind, I continuously go, man, maybe he was like Pac. Maybe there's like a million other secret verses that he has somewhere. Like you just want to hear new stuff.
Well, Diddy probably wouldn't have let that happen, but you know.
No.
But no, what I do know from stories about Biggie is that he didn't really do a lot of extra stuff. There are demos, there are Biggie demos and things that he's worked with other people, but he, like myself, is very focused in on work, and if the work was never completed, it just never was completed. So I don't make a lot of extra work. I make just enough work, and that's kind of the Biggie story. But I digress. This is about Mac Miller, not.
But shout out to Mac.
B.I.G.
Rest in peace. Rest in love. Rest in. There was a that's the other one. I said it, and then didn't realize I said it. But the rest in love to a hip hop great. And I know, like a lot of times, I think people say that. It's just your music is different, and I do wish we were more appreciative as a community in general. Not just us specifically, but the hip hop community. Give people their flowers if you like their music. I continuously tell Tjay how crunk his music makes me because that's our age. I have to use our age words, but that's the true point. But it connects into one, because technically I've been really silent about the other mic hits. One
that wasn't a mic
actual
hit.
noticeable.
That was never mind.
Wow.
I'm a fidgeter, and I like to have things in my.
Oh no, I'm saying 1 to me.
No.
Oh, see, you didn't even hear it. Never mind, 0. Dang it. Okay, that's the actual one, and then I actually hit it.
That's perfect.
That doesn't count. But what flows, I think, into your next topic of are we in the moment?
Yeah, are we present? So I need a little context for this. And so the context is I've been talking to my therapist this week about just being present and being more
I'm focused, man.
being more focused in everything that I'm doing. And part of that conversation is making sure that I can plan for the future. Mm-hmm. I can set that plan in motion, but I need to leave the rest of it alone. If you're on this channel, you're watching this episode. Wait. This is.
Eh? You're about to explain.
I'll explain
okay.
it. If you're on this channel, you're watching this video. Go back and take a look at my music advice video for this week. It's all about mastery, and I talk about Robert Greene's idea of mastery and those types of things. Whether or not musicians are losing their focus on what's important. Mm-hmm. And so tied to that idea and tied to my conversation in therapy is I need to set the future where it is, where it should be, and leave it be so I can focus on the present. So a great example of that is in my personal finance budget, I have a system. I have a system of budgeting my finances. I have a system of automating my savings,
right.
Automating my bill pay. That's the future thinking. The future goal with that is to make sure that there's enough in retirement or there's enough in the bank to make sure that our family goals are where they need to be. Mm-hmm. I don't have to think about that future anymore. I don't have to worry about that future because I can focus on the present. Am I bringing in revenue to put into those buckets? Am I making sure that the automation process continues to be fed right now so that in the future, whenever I get to that future, it's just there? And so that's how I explain to my therapist that I should be more present, less future focused, definitely less past focused, and make sure that all of those elements are things that that leave me grounded. And so the main question is when we're having this conversation, are we truly focused on the present? And I'll allow you to kind of answer that first.
No, I think sometimes it's difficult because when you're talking about like planning, right? A planning process. So we have like a meeting about every week about like what we want topics to be and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so like during the week, I'm like thinking about it and I'm like trying to think of a topic. And then like if I get the topics, I'm able to kind of let it go. But at the same time, then I'm thinking about like, okay, well, what are my thoughts on this? But the bigger point, I guess, because that's a terrible example, but the better example is, so our conversation that we had this week was about revenue for the company and trying to make revenue for the company. And so my thought process was, okay, I've done this, you know, and then it was like,
which is a past focus type of thought, right?
Or I'm doing.
Yeah, that can be past and present. Yes.
But then the focus was the future of the album that I'm currently creating or trying to create. Because, I mean, not specifically, but it was specific to we needed more music. We need to do more music. Because we're trying to build some things. And so when I try and think about my music, the hard part for me has always been I think about it in layers. So the only time I'm able to like be in the moment most times is when we're just creating. So it's like if you're making a beat, right? And I just sit over here and I'm in the moment and all I'm focusing on is my rhymes.
Right.
And then the part where I like might lose focus or something like that, and I start thinking about the future is when I'm like what am I trying to say? Is when you start sequencing. Because then I get into a whole nother thought bag. And then I'm like, oh, I leave my whatever verse I was writing. And now I'm thinking about like, oh, snap, this is going to be dope when I get here. And then I move there. Or I move from there into like song title. And then I'll move from song title into sequencing. And it's like, it's so hard to like catch my thoughts and bring myself back. So I get a lot of what you're saying. It's just, I don't know. I'm probably rambling and probably proving the point, but it just gets hard music wise. Like I've been more present with things. And I think that's when I started to be able to, when things started moving faster, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like when the only thing I did was focus on the trip up here and say it's going to happen when it's going to happen. Right.
That's an example of what I'm talking about though.
Right. But there, we went from, we kept setting dates. Well, I'm not going to say we, but someone kept setting dates. The dates didn't come. And then I was like, yo, let's stop setting dates. Like we're going to get there. Just work on the things,
That's also an example.
I would have a conversation with you and then it would just be like, well, you remember you got to do this, this, and this. And I'd be like, okay. And instead of like, normally that would just cripple me and feel like, okay, it's going to be 10 years before we get up here. Then I'd be like, don't worry about it. Like, don't think about it. Don't think about it. And then within 2 weeks we were here.
Yeah. So I have a question, but I also have something to kind of add to that.
Mm-hmm.
That element or that example is what people call faith.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't have to explain that to you. You're a reverend, right? Just duh.
This is true.
Duh. But I think it's, as a human, it's hard to remember that's called faith. And so
whether you believe in something else, there's still, for when you are in the present and you're thinking about the future or not thinking about the future, trusting that the things you're setting up for the future are going to be there, that's faith.
Right. And so the element of being present is the work that is tied to that. And so the question I have is, so if you're thinking about your album in the future and it causes so much worry and anxiety and I don't want to, I'm not giving your thoughts words. I'm just trying to allude to what it may be. Right. So, yeah, just go with me. Just go with me. Worry, anxiety, whatever feelings come about. Right. So they may not be your actual feelings that I'm describing right now, but what I'm saying is that there are elements that cause emotions to that future thinking. And so when you're thinking about your album, is there a time where you can actually set it, right? Is there so what parts of your album can you set? That's a better question.
What I've been trying to do is stop trying to set. Because for me, I end up setting like in some sort of web, right?
Well, let me further elaborate. So you can set that there will be an album. Yeah. Right? You don't have to set a date. You don't have to set elements of it.
Now I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So what maybe there is an album. What other portions can you set?
The name is set.
The name is set.
My rap name is set. That's not gonna change.
Your brand is set. There is gonna be an album.
Yeah, there is gonna be features, and
this will be features.
This is gonna be the best album. Well, the best album I've produced thus far,
Yeah. So
or
we
been
know,
a part of thus far.
right.
Is
It's going to
producing
be
is
your
your
best
job.
work so far.
Yeah.
It's going to be, we know what label it's coming out on.
We always gonna know what label is coming out on.
We know how we're going to distribute it.
It's not like it's on my body or anything.
We know what YouTube channel is going to be released to. We know our splits. We know
we do know our splits.
We know we know our publishing. We know all of those things. So the things that we're worried about is the things that we don't know. And that's what I'm saying that individuals should leave alone.
And I tend to lean to your teachings and your coaching a lot of the times in that regard, especially when it comes to song. So like I will have a song and a mindset of what it is that I want to do coming out, right? Because a lot of the times my issues in terms of rap be like, being about to be 34 and by a week after y'all get this episode, it's like looking at your age and the age of hip hop and how people look at people and everything else. And I battle with that. So I always want to get out here and like put out a song, especially when I haven't been out. The last song I put out was about 4 or 5 years ago at this point. Cause it was, it's about 5 or 6. Cause it was before I got married. With that, I end up in a place where I want to show people I got it. With every, like, if I ain't been out in a while, it's like, no, I got to show you that I can rap.
Yeah, and it's a consistent reset, isn't it? So that's the thing is like, all right, so when we're thinking about that consistent reset, how can we get out of that mode of consistently having to prove that? How can we do that? And that's, in my opinion, it's controlling the controllables.
Yeah.
And so the controllables are, what do you know is set? You know what I mean?
And then I guess I just have to also set the fact that I know that I'm a great rapper and that you don't put faith or backing behind things you don't believe in yourself. And, you've said it before and we've talked about it multiple times about like, hey, you my right hand man. And you don't say it with a tinge of placation or placating or this comforting spirit, because that's not to say that you cannot be comforting, but that ain't how you go about.
Yeah.
Like you are direct. Like, and like if you're comforting, you're more so like, so if I feel sick, right? Hey, when you get your second shot, you might not feel that well. You might want to go and get some of this or take some of this, get you some soup. And it's like direct. It's an actionable thing because you are, for most parts, and I think that's hard to believe that you had to focus more on being the present because you give so many actionable, in the moment things.
Yeah, I don't like to help people with, I don't know how to call it, not hypotheticals, but I just don't like to help people with things that aren't concrete.
Right. And
practical.
That makes more sense. Like your emotional guidance is not shit, but it's more of a, okay, you feel sad. That's cool. Did you watch a happy movie today?
Yeah. What can we do?
Like, what can we do? Like, it's more of a, like, you're not that's my job.
Yeah.
You know, like, so, and I just now realized that our roles in our brotherhood and friendship is like, you do the practical and then you come to me for the emotional. Will you hand me that cellular device that is sitting on top of that yellow notebook there? Yeah, so it's like the crazy part about this is that, man, you in these topics. This is why it's a good topic.
Yeah.
We're at that point where it's hard to not try and do both as well. So on top of like setting these things for the album, I'm also trying to set up the future. Like we want kids. trying to put buns in the oven. Hot buns in the oven. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm silly. Oh, come on. Are you serious?
Yeah. I saw that earlier. Anyway, so yeah, we're just in a place where we want to be more focused in order to kind of, for me, it causes a lot of anxiety to worry.
Yeah.
And for several years now, I've been in a mode where I worry less simply because I'm less focused on the future. I'll set my future, and then I will let go and start controlling the things that I can actually control. And it's been the same way for this company. It's been the same way for my personal life. It's just a point where I want to make sure that I
don't know why when you said that, all I heard was, I want to rock right now.
I want to make sure that I don't get into a place where I'm so racked with anxiety that it causes me to be paralyzed in some ways.
Yeah, because I think that's a lot of the difficulty of being older. Is because I wish we train kids more, or teenagers more, to stay in that. Like, hey, it's going to get crazy because
we keep telling kids to focus on the future because we're adults. Well, maybe that's what you're getting at.
No, yeah, I'm saying like we got to tell them to keep that. Like when you're 18, right? We are focused on the moment, and we're focused in a way that says we're going to get things. Now I'm also trying to activate the appreciation. So I always tell kids who are about to go to college, or even if they're in high school, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, if you're thinking about doing music, do it. Do it now.
Right.
And the reason I'm telling you to do it now is because this moment from here to college, if you decide to go to college, will be the biggest opportunity that you will have to build a framework.
Right.
And if you are not cognizant of that, you will miss it and you will start to feel like you're behind.
Yeah, you missed out, and that's a challenging thing. And I'd argue that kids are more in the present than any adult and most beings and creatures on this planet. And so
and we just what we do though is we don't give them the tools of understanding. So it's like, okay, cool. I do want you to so for financial literacy, right? So if we're telling them we want them to save, then, like this is something you set and forget. Instead of we make it seem like, well, because when you in your 60s, we go from telling them to be in the present and start saving
to put them in a place of worry.
Immediate, like in the same, it's parallel to one another in some way versus like, hey, here's the reason I'm telling you this. You got about 5 years before you ever have to worry about a bill. Hopefully, I know that there's a lot of kids who have different situations. You were working, young adult, so on and so forth. But with that, at that time, there are a lot of things that you could have done in those positions because you stayed at certain jobs a certain amount of time. And you started to get that like later on, I think around the Target run or whatever, where, you were putting money in a 401k and so on and so forth.
I started doing that before.
But yes,
shout out to everybody watching on Instagram Live. I started saving up way before then. Right, the first taste of a retirement plan was when I had my corporate job with Walmart, and it's just an eye opener.
Yeah.
Before that was, lessons from my grandfather. So it just is what it is. Kids just need to be reminded to not be put into a fear place. They need to be put into a place of where they can sit.
Just be put in a realistic position. Like, don't be put in the fairy tale position. Speaking of positions,
We're just gonna jump.
we're gonna jump
We're just gonna jump.
because I saw it. Speaking of positions, and I'll finish the statement after because this is gonna be funny. It'll be like a little. Well, actually, I'll say it now.
All right.
Because this is funny. Sorry, guys. I'm losing my train of thought because I saw our next topic. Kids have to be able to see things fully, and you have to give them that opportunity. You cannot say keep putting these things on the back burner. A recall from our Why Nice Guys finished last episode. The reason there are so many situationships and so many different relationship issues is because we continuously tell people to put things off. There's no in the moment learning.
Yeah.
You know, now you can try and divert kids from premarital sex or whatever, too early sex, because you know, there's all these different things or whatever. But you also then divert them from full relationship understanding. Not saying that they need to be having sex to understand relationships, but they also need to engage in relationships and not be so afraid of the consequences of that.
Right.
They need to understand, okay, this is a good date. These are things I like and dislike, and be aware of those things.
Yeah, the idea is not to put people in a fear state, right? And that's what I think that is a great thesis for us to kind of wrap up the idea of we should be more in the present.
Be more in the present. And now, I'm going to turn. Wait, hold on. I got to turn it down. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second, guys.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little bit more. Right about there. All right, guys. It's time for another segment of whether or not TJ can guess the anime plot.
Nice. With your host, Icarus Gray.
With your host, me, Icarus Gray. Thank you for the layup there.
And you're forever contestant in Wordplay
Play
TJ.
TJ. Unless, you will be the forever contestant.
Yeah. So folks watching on the Instagram Live or on Twitch, be sure to go to our YouTube channel, watch this, youtube.com/wordplaytj, watch anime plots, and you get to see me try to guess
Good luck with that, bruh.
the anime plot.
From just a name and a picture, he does not get anything except for that.
Yeah. So today's anime plot. I have to guess the title, right?
No. I gave you the title.
I don't remember it. So
Oh, well, here. I'll give you the title again.
yeah, that's right. You give me the title.
The Japanese title.
I have to guess what this anime is about, based off an image alone.
And I couldn't give him too much on this one because it would be way too easy. But the Japanese name of it is Shokugeki No Soma.
All right. I know where to go with this one. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. I need to describe the elements first.
Describe the elements. Break it down.
So first is this chick, looks nude, or at least partially nude, right? No top. She's
No. She's nude.
Okay, she's nude. I don't need help. I'm supposed
Good
to
luck with that,
I'm
bruh.
supposed to be guessing. Don't help me.
Okay, I'm gonna look away. Go.
She's nude. Now I know. She has blue hair and she looks overjoyed, slathered in honey. And there's honey behind her and what looks like bee-like creatures in the backdrop. So so here's my guess at this anime plot.
Good luck with that, bruh.
This anime plot is so she's the queen bee, right? So they're her servants, her loyal subjects, right? And she's been gone for a while. She took a trip. And now she's back. And she just wants a bath. She wants to relax. She wants to enjoy herself. And they've prepared this lavish bee honey bath for this lady. And now she's taking it. That's my anime plot.
Yeah. That's not right. No. So, okay. So now I'll give you the English title of the show and see if there's I don't know what words, if there's a rephrasing. Because I'll give you one last chance by giving you the English title, right? The English title is Food Wars.
Okay. So Food Wars. Still.
Okay.
She's Queen Bee.
Okay.
And I mean, that just further helps me solidify my point that she's Queen Bee. Because if it's Food Wars, then she's the queen of the honey.
Yeah. So what's funny is I'm glad that you noticed the things that you noticed. Because it does show that you have an acute sense of looking at the picture and understanding that there are a lot of different things. So the thing about Food Wars that is hilarious, it's a series. Have you ever seen Iron Chef?
Yeah.
Basically, it's a series where these kids are at this culinary school, this culinary high school, and they have Shokugekis, which is a food war, to settle disputes in like different clubs and all this other stuff. And the thing about the series is this is a series that they are like, your mom would walk in at this point where she's like naked and all sorts of stuff. And it has literally nothing to do technically with the series, right? The series is essentially about this guy named Soma. And the thing about the series is when he cooks and people taste his food, they have this orgasmic moment where it's like they're covered in, like metaphorically in their mind, they're now in honey, and like the bees that you see are him. Oh. They're little small versions of him, like poking or prodding her or whatever with the flavor. Or it's a euphoric experience.
Yeah.
And the series is really, really great, but they have these moments. Every time somebody's about to actually taste something, you know their clothes are about to pop off and fan service is about to be on full tilt. 100% tilt. So you were not far off, you were not far off. You were just far off in the sense that just like you were making it like, oh, well, she's the queen. That's freaking hilarious. But everything else you got that it was honey. Okay. And everything else. So I'll give you a,
yeah, right.
a little bit
for that.
You can have a little bit for getting that right.
All right, cue that music.
This has been another episode of Whether or Not Wordplay TJ Can Guess the Anime Plot.
Why does your voice change every time?
I can't help it. It's the music. You have to talk like this when you hear music like this.
I just imagine you having the announcer voice. Whether or not TJ can guess the anime plot. Like that. That's what I imagine in my head. You got real like Japanese game show.
Oh, well, let me break it. Hello guys. This is another episode of Whether or Not TJ Can Guess the Anime Plot.
Nice. All right. So now that that's done, let's get to our main topic. We can stop fooling around here, being the fools that we are, and talk a little bit about how anger
Mute game on point today.
Mute game on point. How anger is tied to fear. That's our main topic. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitch. Shout out to everybody watching on IG Live right now. If you want to watch the full episode, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel Wordplay TJ on YouTube, youtube.com/wordplaytj. Wordplay TJAY.
Not little TJ, not, I don't know.
They don't even exist.
There's so many other
in my
things.
mind.
Good luck with that, bruh.
We have other sounds. They just are not as applicable.
Shady. So this topic, right? This anger kind of produced some fear in us.
A little bit.
What do you think?
Mm,
And that's a very surface level yes or no question, right? It's like,
well, no.
do you think?
Agreed. It just depends on no. Majority of the time, anger is fueled by some form of fear.
But why though? And how does it manifest in your life?
So now that I'm able to, I need to move my foot. I got to get some solid footing for this point. I think so. I'm trying to think of like a good example. For instance, say in a marital situation, a family member needs money, right?
Yeah.
And you are in your financial budgeting mode, right? So the anger would be that if I do this, I'm not going to have enough for this other thing. So then I get angry, or would be angry that the person is even asking. And because of my fear is that by doing something, and now I'm angry about it. Instead of just being like, because fear is fight or flight. And I think anger is the just fight of the fear of whatever it is, if I'm getting it right. But that's just my general thought.
Okay, so is there outside of the hypothetical, right? Because that can be a real situation, right? But how do you feel like you handle that when those moments come about?
It depends on how the feeling is addressed. If the feeling is addressed and it's like, calm the fear. Like the goal is calm the fear, no matter what it is. If you calm the fear, it dissipates. Like it's gone. All of it's gone. The anger is gone, because sometimes you just have to say, yes, I understand. That scares me too. And then it's like it immediately goes away and the fog is removed because they interlock with one another. And so if you say, I understand, or I have that fear too, then it unlocks and it's like, oh, it's not that scary. And we can talk about whatever it is. But sometimes it's hard for people to do that because if they can't understand the fear, if they can't understand the feeling, or any of that, then majority of the time there's just a lot of offense. And then there's fear and anger on that end, or confusion on that end. And then anger just begets anger, and then you're in an argument.
Yeah. For me, understanding the dynamic of anger and fear, it boils down to the only times that I am truly angry are when I'm truly scared. And the anger comes from a place of not being able to do anything about the fear. Or at least the thought in my head that I can't do anything about the fear. And so, anger for me always feels non-productive. And that's not true about anger, right? Because anger can be productive. You can yell at somebody and you can get them to comply in a lot of ways, but is that productive in the long term?
Well, it's also good in the sense that if you just recognize that you're angry and find a way to release the anger. Because sometimes it isn't just a constitution of fear. It might be a culmination of stress. It can be a culmination of sadness. It can be a culmination, not of happiness. I've never seen happy anger. That's like, well, actually, yes, I have.
Yay.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like,
Is that how it looks?
well,
Yay.
culmination of happy anger is more so when, like, say, like I look at you, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm angry by it's a blind happiness. And what I mean by that is, it's like, so if I look at you and I keep telling you how good you are musically, how I feel like you're on the level of Adilla and all these other people that you ascribe to and like, and you're like, no, I don't know about that. It's like, look, bruh, like I watched you. And it's like, that to me is a happy anger. It's a frustration.
But I still feel like that's a fear. That's a fear that I won't recognize myself.
Yes. And yes, what I'm saying is they're still tied together.
Yeah.
Like the source is still from it might be an idealistic viewpoint. It might be whatever, but it's still a viewpoint. It's a good viewpoint. Mm-hmm. It's a positive viewpoint. I see you in a great light. You know, I've seen the things that you've done. And so I think that a lot of the times recognizing that and allowing that to be okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not about, everything doesn't have to be about me yelling at you. I can be angry because, like I said, if you were talking about an excess of sadness, an excess of whatever emotion that it is, sometimes you have to release because it's like emotions are meant to be felt, period. It's not to, like, there's a suppression that we do in society versus a balancing. It's being in the present. If you're in the present of your emotion, understand that I felt it, understand that I'm feeling it. Now I can quote unquote manage it, or I can just sit here and feel that for a second. Like I can't let it control me in the sense that I can't let it like devolve into a state where I'm not moving forward or I'm not moving at all.
Yeah.
But if I just keep throwing it back in the backpack, I'm just going to explode eventually because the backpack is going to get full. Then it's going to get heavy on my back. And then I'm going to be like, oh no, what am I doing? Right? So that my theory on a lot of this stuff is like, while you can disconnect the two because they are still together, you should be weary and cognizant of the fact that when you have an emotion, when you're feeling it, that it's okay to feel it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't really have that capacity because they get told, especially men, you know, and there's been a wave of change currently in terms of men being able to express their feelings, which I think will lead to a lot of the changes that we've been wanting societally.
Yeah.
In terms of men not being in this culture, being like, well, if you don't want me to look at you, you need to change the way you dress, which is an anger for whatever reason.
It's a fear that they would never be, they'll never find a mate.
Yeah.
Because statistically, guys have a harder time at, you know, earning sex and relationships.
And then it's a fear of, if nothing else, just not being able to have sex with someone. Like, yeah. Or that your intelligence is now being challenged and that you have no place to properly exist.
But it's difficult for dudes. That's why the fear is there.
Yeah, on a certain level, but it's also a privilege.
It is a privilege, right? But what I'm saying is that let's just analyze a woman's DMs versus a guy's DMs.
Okay, two completely different things.
Yeah. So if you what I'm thinking about is that guys have a harder time because their DMs might be dry, and I would argue that there's a lot of women that their DMs are not dry.
Not even in the least, because, but good point. But I also just think they need to address those feelings because a lot of our fears stem from a couple things, right? So using your example, the fear of the not being able to be with somebody stems from not being able to walk up to somebody and say like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to get a, or you don't want to get a us at the skating rink back in the day, right?
Fear of rejection.
Oh no! I'm about to talk about the fear of rejection in our skating rink ways. No. Yes.
I'm confused.
You'll follow. You about to follow along with
I
me.
get it.
The fear of here's the biggest fear back in the day of a guy. So in the twerking era,
we're
still there, but y'all just call it twerking now. We called it shaking that ass, or whatever we did. I don't know what we did. I do know what we did. And we wouldn't call it that.
We didn't call it anything.
We just called it dancing. Up. So girl would be dancing. She would be, twerking it out.
Right.
You as a male, here's the biggest form of like fear of rejection. So you would go to stand behind this person because this is a dancing style that we did. Standing, twerking, doggy style.
Yeah, it's a very cultural thing.
Very cultural thing. And here's the other cultural part about it. So once you stood behind this girl, there is a moment
where she looks,
where she will look back. There are a couple things that can happen here.
She will assess your face.
She will assess your face,
your physique,
your shoes.
Your shoes.
I'm not lying. Then something will happen. She will either, and this is the yes or the no. The yes is the continued twerk and an increased speed of said twerk.
And ferocity.
And ferocity. Vigorously twerking on you now. But the flip side is, and she stops dancing and she walks off and you're like, everyone around you sees your rejection. So your rejection is not just the personal, like I walked up to you, I said, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?"
It's
no, sorry, I have a boyfriend. It's like, oh, dang, bro. And then on top of that, that also hurts your chances of dancing with anybody else.
Yeah, because if you get the then
other people are like, oh no. Even if it was a yes for that person. And then you got to go dance on the person that just dances with everybody because it's a dance.
This is so weird.
But this is what we did.
That's so weird.
But this is exactly what you're talking about. Like the fear, like that's also like the reason why I think that then at that age, we didn't have unwarranted fears.
Right.
These fears were like they put them on a megaphone and yelled at them.
Right. Ugh.
And it's just like, it wasn't like, no, I don't want to dance. Now, granted, again, it is a very...
no, not you, your homeboy.
Caveman. Oh, man, bruh, that would be the worst. Where they would like turn around, look at you, be like, nah, your homeboy or whoever is there. And then they like, because they'll do this too and grab that person and then start twerking.
Friends that also reject you. And sometimes they verify with their friend. They're like, friend.
Oh man, it's so
friend.
bad.
What do you think? But and then it's a collective after.
Yeah, but then we just didn't address those feelings. We allowed those feelings to be concrete.
Yeah, you took your womp womp womp, and then you just walked.
And you took it home.
Next one.
And you took it to everything else. Like sometimes, like. To be equipped with the armament.
I didn't take my womp womp womp.
Oh,
I just kept trying.
Bro, I took a womp womp womp, but I wasn't trying to dance on nobody else. Because like I had such a weird low self-esteem thing. Like because I would always pick the finest thing in the world. Let's do this. If I'm finna walk over here, like
it's just like.
Shoot
for the moon.
It's already taking me forever to get over here. And then I'm like, okay, I got to do this right. Did I dress correctly? And back then it was hard to like find pants because I'm tall, but also slightly wide. Pause. And with that, it was harder to find jeans back in the, y'all got all the comfortable jeans nowadays. Like, we had to either go straight fit.
Yeah, but
boot
also,
cut.
also our jeans were way too big.
Yes.
For
that was the other thing. But they like weren't appropriate to like the length. Long story short, is if somebody started twerking on me, there was flooding. You know, and so I'm already like in my head about all these other things as well.
Yeah.
So when I would pick somebody, I'd stand behind them. Fear would start. Anger would never overtake me there.
Yeah.
Anger would only overtake me like after I'm leaving. I'm like, I'm gonna be alone for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at my clothes, like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not.
There's a sneeze coming on. Yeah. So it's more like the womp, womp,
it was big sneeze energy
was
too.
Was now stamped on all.
Oh my God, man! And then like, it was always people you knew. It was never like.
So now you got to see that kid, that person in science class or something.
Man, and then that anger. But then like, the other thing was, in high school, my parents went through the divorce. I got jumped at different points. You know, like all of these different things happened. And I did not know how to properly deal with my emotions.
Right. So you got a social report card of,
yeah,
I don't know, F.
Basically. And an emotional report card of F. Because for all the mental health stuff that we talk about now, that's not something that they talked about then in that way. They would say that we needed help, but this is how they say we needed help. They would either put us on attention medicine or put you on like Prozac. Mm-hmm. They would talk to you about properly managing your emotions, kind of, but in a not a productive, progressive way. So it wasn't like, okay, you need to learn how to manage these things. This is why you're having these emotions, because you can see it in our media. Prime example, we were watching, and I think this is another thing to call back earlier when we talk about being in the moment, right? And not looking at the past. So I was watching As Good as It Gets on Netflix. Kanae had never seen it, so I wanted her to see this movie. And I'd never seen it as an adult, but I know I'd seen this movie. So we watched this movie. They're using all kinds of homophobic, just racist language. Jack Nicholas is, in the sense that he was a character who has OCD. And I remembered, like, when I watched it when I was younger, I'm sitting there watching the movie with Kanae, and I was watching it, and I was like, I had this feeling again of being misunderstood, because I remembered that when I watched this movie, it made me feel like I had OCD. Like, you know, and I think it caused a lot of people to kind of feel that way, because I know there was like a time where everybody, that and Monk, made people everywhere feel like they had OCD.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you just are anal about something. Like, it's different to be actually crippled by the tics or things that you feel you need to do chemically. Mm-hmm. Like, it is a chemical thing that they have to change. And so I was telling her, we got to the end of the movie and I was like, man, I never noticed this. I never noticed this. I thought they did a lot more of this. And I was like, I remember how I watched this movie, because all I saw were his tics.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remembered the things being unique in and of myself. There's often a time where it's hard for kids to articulate identity, or articulate what it is you want, who you are, what you're feeling, because people will placate it or make it smaller than what it is versus just addressing it as a feeling. Mm-hmm. And so I think that a lot of this, in terms of anger and everything else, is just kind of misplaced emotion. It's just not balancing. I'm angry because this. And if I addressed it, I could let it go. If I let myself feel it, like, lost a lot of people at the beginning of the year, and I have days where I'm just sad. Instead of being like, hey, man, get out of that shit. It's more like, no, just, it's okay. You feel sad today. You missed them. and that's okay. And then I feel it. I embrace the feeling, and then it subsides at some point. Might take a while, but I don't make myself feel like I'm sick.
Yeah.
Or that I'm outside of my body, or that I'm outside of something that happens naturally. So then there's the release. And I think a lot of times anger is so connected with fear because there's never a release sometimes.
Well, speaking of release and fear, I have to release some urine. And I'm going to fear
Good luck with that, bruh.
that I'm going to pee myself. And if I continue
So, guys,
with this fear,
if
I'm going to get really angry.
if
and I'm
you've
going to start throwing some computers around here.
if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure. Good God. Yep, I knew it. Make sure you hit the like button.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe, comment so we can respond to that, and hit that bell notification so you can get notified when we go live. There's also a Patreon if you would like to support us further.
That was beautiful.
There's the Underdog tryouts for $1, the only for the underdogs, which is $3, Underdog Upgrade at $5, Underdog Ultra at $20, and the Underdog exclusive at $50. At each level, there are perks for you, as you will get the currently once a month overtime episode where me and TJ go overtime, all the time on my mind, and we get it in.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really cool. You'll also get music stuff. You're going to get a lot of music stuff here soon because we're going to work some stuff out because I really want there to be great content for y'all. But make sure you do all those things. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure, again, that you're here with us because we want to continuously build this community for the underdogs. It's not just a Patreon thing. Yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. A 1 and a 2 and peace.